Michaela Vernava alongside Mike Cole in the Nesson studios, and it's time for some wild card weekend predictions. The 9-7 Washington Redskins will host the 10-6 Green Bay Packers, and I think the Packers haven't beat a worthy opponent since week 3 when they beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And on the other hand, the Redskins' 9 wins have come against opponents with records of 500 or below. So Mike, will Aaron Rodgers be able to snap out of his slump and get the Pack back on track? Or will Kirk Cousins, who's thrown 23 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in the past 10 games, stay hot for Washington?
It's a tough one. I don't necessarily think Aaron Rodgers is going to get back on track, but I do think the Packers offense can get back on track. The Washington defense is not very good. It's in the lower third in just about every defensive category. So maybe if there is a chance for Aaron Rodgers to get going, it's going to be this week against Washington. I think the Packers, if they're smart, look to get the run game going early in the game against the Washington defense that's allowing 4.8 yards per carry. And that might open things up for Aaron Rodgers. On the other side of the ball, though, that's a tough one because I think Kirk Cousins is playing really well, but if you go back early in the season, there were struggles. So I think the Packers defense is kind of hot and cold, but if they can kind of get after him early, force him to a turnover early, maybe that kind of gets in his head and he kind of reverts to old Kirk Cousins. Do you like that?
Well, about that Washington defense, they did add former Seahawks cornerback CARY Williams. Will we feel his presence in this game at all?
I don't think so. You look at the stats, and the stats aren't very good defensively for that team as a whole against offenses that aren't necessarily setting the world on fire. So I don't think one guy who's kind of a cast-off is necessarily going to save that defense.
So when we put all of this together, are you leaning towards the Packers to take this one?
Yeah, everything says I should be picking against the Packers because they've looked absolutely inept for going on 2 months now. And they were really just embarrassing on Sunday night in Week 17 against the Vikings. But again, I think that defense in Washington is just not good enough, and that kind of that should be the spark to kind of get the Packers offense going for at least 1 week. I think they play anybody else in this entire playoff field in either conference, the Packers lose this week. But I think this is the best matchup they can find.
All right, Mike, it is a tough one, but I do agree with you. Thanks very much. And for all your NFL news, make sure to keep it on Nesson.com.